loves, I'm Jessi Moon, your sister in the craft, and this is The Melting Pot. I really wanted to sit outside to film today because it is such a beautiful day here, but unfortunately where I live in the city it is so noisy, which gave me maybe a concept for a future video on maybe touching on living as a witch in the city or something, living as a green witch, incorporating that lifestyle into my city life. But I decided that I would come down to my little cave and do it here instead in the quiet. There are a few reasons why I really wanted to sit down and make this video today. The first reason being is that I just reached 151 subscribers and I was so excited to see that. It is just such a huge milestone for me, and it may seem small to some, but to me, to understand and realize that there are 150 human beings out there that want to share their energy with me and hear what I have to say and share my dream and my experience with me, and I think that's really humbling and really beautiful. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone who subscribed and who continues to watch my video and help me grow my channel. It really means a lot to me. The second reason I wanted to sit down and talk with you guys, and I mentioned a few videos back that I wanted to start sitting down more often and doing kind of like stop and chats and just kind of checking in. When I was looking through ideas for a video today, I was going through my list of different topics that I have for videos in the future, and I was having a hard time deciding on which one I wanted to do. And I decided that I was going to come back to it. As the day went on, something transpired with my daughter, my 10-year-old, and my husband and I later on were having a talk about mental strength, and that's something that I talk with Journey a lot about, is her mental strength. I tell her physical strength is great, but if you don't have the mental strength to know how to use it, it's not going to do you any good. So I'm always trying to tell her, to teach her new ways to deal with stress and to cope with her emotions and to understand herself better, as I'm learning new ways to cope and to understand myself better. Oh, hey, kitty. And something that came up today when I was talking to my husband about it was I spent so much of my life trying to run from my emotions or find new ways to escape them, whether it be through drugs or other harmful experiences for my soul and for myself, that went on to affect me in such negative ways, creating even more problems, instead of just sitting with myself and sitting with those emotions and trying to understand them and where they come from. And I feel like if so much of us spent more time just trying to understand the core of where our emotions are coming from and to address that problem and start working on those inner wounds, I think we'd all be a lot better off for it. It is really hard to do sometimes, to remember to check in with yourself. When we experience these moments, when we become overcome with our emotions and it feels kind of like our world is crashing in around us, or we're hopeless and we're experiencing these moments of frustration or not knowing what to do, we're just feeling completely out of control of our own life in so many ways. I think it's helpful to analyze how we were feeling. Of course, when you're in that moment, that's hard to do. But when you calm down enough and you come to a place where you are able to analyze the situation and those emotions, I think it's helpful to write them down. Recently, something that I started to do with my daughter that I think I might incorporate in my own life, in my own practice, and it is a great tool for shadow work, I think, is when we are in these moments where we are overcome with an emotion, whether it be stress or rage, anger, sadness, whatever it may be, you're feeling overcome by a specific emotion and we are unable to process. I think it is helpful to look at how we were feeling in that moment. after it has passed, so that we can kind of understand the problem, our reaction to it, and where it all comes from. For instance, today with my daughter, I asked her to rate her scale of anger on a scale of 1 to 10 and her sadness on a scale of 1 to 10. I asked her to write down 3 emotions that she was feeling in that moment. And I asked if there was any way that she could have handled the situation to have a different outcome. And I think over time, keeping a log of these things, it becomes easier for us to go back and look at our reactions to specific things, to see where they're linked, to understand where that wound actually is, and so that we can start working on the actual problem. Taking a self-inventory is very powerful, and it's a really important part of keeping up with shadow work, and it's something that we can do each and every day to kind of keep working on ourselves and understanding ourselves, and to understanding our shadow as well. If you're unfamiliar with shadow work, I would be happy to do a video breakdown on that. Just let me know in the comments below. But essentially, our shadow is all the things that throughout our life we've been taught not to like about ourselves, whether it be by other people's reaction to us or our perceptions of other people's reaction to us, or many different scenarios can lead to how we feel about ourselves. But our shadow is essentially all of the negative thoughts that we have about ourselves. And part of healing and growing is to understand those parts of ourselves. And I apologize if there's a change in the sound quality. I am terrible at remembering to turn our air off before I start. But it's a scorcher today, and I didn't want to bake my family upstairs. So I apologize for that. But back to what I was saying. It is extremely hard to do in a moment of frustration. But once you calm down, if you can go to a quiet place and kind of just analyze your feelings and the whole situation and kind of entirely how it unfolded and try to understand it, I think it gives us a better understanding of ourselves. I really just wanted to take the time to sit down and talk about mental strength, because I think our mental strength is everything. And what I mean by that is our mental wellness, our ability to understand ourselves and our peers and the world around us in a more compassionate way. When we're in these moments where we are overcome by intense emotions and it feels like it's never going to end, and we kind of get into this negative talking, this negative thinking, and we become very hard on ourselves, and there's a lot of negative self-talk there. And something that can be helpful and powerful in this, and this can be tricky to do if you're already in that place, but if you can stop yourself and have this conversation with yourself before you get there, it will be extremely helpful for you. If you're able to, when you start noticing that negative self-talk coming on, kind of stop and think. And think, if my friend was in this situation, if my best friend in the world, or my daughter, or my husband was in this situation, and they were sharing this with me, would I talk to them the way I'm talking to myself right now? Would I say to them, well, that's stupid, you shouldn't try, that sounds really ridiculous, get over yourself? No, absolutely not. You will be trying to gas them up, try to encourage them, and tell them that you should definitely at least try. You never know if you don't try, or whatever, you know? You're gonna try to encourage them. And that's so hard to do with ourselves because we've been so hard on ourselves for so long. But in this process of trying to heal and trying to understand ourselves, something that is extremely powerful in doing this is working on that self-talk. And if we can direct it to a more positive place and be just a little more compassionate with ourselves and a little more patient with ourselves, I think we will become to understand ourselves a little better. And to know yourself is such a powerful thing. I feel like that should be the ultimate goal in life, is to just truly to understand ourselves. And I think that these are some really powerful tools in doing that, so I wanted to share them with you. I wanted to say thank you so much again to everybody who subscribed and who is helping me to realize this dream of mine of sharing my craft and to helping others. When I'm helping others, it helps me to be a little more patient and understanding of myself in the same way. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being a part of my healing journey and letting me be a part of yours. If you could give this video a like or subscribe, it really does help, and I would appreciate it so much. And until next time, bless.